Hey everyone, welcome to the Sunday routine, as Horizon Fish Keeping has stated. Hopefully it's become your routine. It's become my routine when I'm not traveling, as you know. So let me get this set up. Today's conversation brought to you by Michael's Fish Room. Watched a video this morning after I woke up about Amazon reviews and how they can be scammy, and boy howdy do I agree. I was running into this a lot over the last, I would say, 6 weeks, and it was not in the fish category at all. It was actually with shoes. As you know, last week we talked about the Hoka shoes and how I love them, and I was reading reviews trying to find the perfect convention shoes because I had to do convention. Well, you would see these shoes that would have like 5,000 reviews, and they'd be like 5 stars. Then you'd click in and start reading them, and like the last 3 months is nothing but these shoes are horrible, they fell apart, blah, blah, blah. And so I wanted to touch upon that a little bit. You should definitely go watch this video. This is a brief overview, and but there's a fair number of companies that are paying for reviews. You can find out how they're doing that. In fact, my mom even partakes in that, it's not a like pay to leave a review, but she's in a program where it's like, you enter all your information, you're like, oh, you're a good fit for this, right? And so if you're of her demographic, the company goes, hey, we're going to send you this quilting thing, and then, leave us a review about it. It's not, he's like a third party and stuff, so it's not specifically like pay you to leave a 5-star review, but these programs exist, right? Now, what I want to go over is something that I'm very proud of, and that's our reviews in terms of our website and Google and that kind of stuff. And so I was going to bring you along to the website here and show you guys some stuff to get started today, and then we're going to answer any questions you guys want. So don't worry, we're plenty of fish stuff here. But what I wanted to show you is this. So we use an app called Judge Me, and it's just a cheap app that you guys have probably participated in. You get an email that says, hey, can you spare a minute and review some of these products so you can help other people just like you, right? Because if we solicit reviews from hobbyists and they give honest feedback, we get to make products better, and everyone can crowdsource and go, hey, they loved it for this application, didn't like it for this application, right? And so when we go to find, I started here because we're one of their bigger stores that use this. I mean, there's, I don't know, it's probably like 50,000 or something stores that use this. But we're on their featured stores because we get so many reviews thanks to you guys, right? And kind of what I wanted to show off here was we get all these little awards that we don't display on the website, which now I'm thinking like maybe we need to. I didn't think it would ever come to a point where we have to prove that we're not buying reviews and gaming the system. It's sad that might be a thing now. But we get these different badges. How can I, so we've got, 55, almost 56,000 of verified reviews. Now, what a verified review is, in case you're not a total business nerd, it basically means that someone actually had to buy the product from us and then left the review while they were logged in. If you're not logged in when you leave reviews, they won't be verified. We can't verify that you actually purchased it, and it could be our competitor, could be someone random, could totally be you too. They bought our product, and that's fine. And so we have almost 56,000 of people who were verified that they bought the product from us and left a review. So that's, it's a thing to be proud of. We're in the top 25 stores. And then it's actually this platinum transparency right here. And I'm going to click on these Judge Me medals. So the platinum transparency right here is published at least 99% of verified reviews received in total. Now, there's a distinction here. Why isn't it 100%, Corey? We do remove reviews in very limited scenarios. Candy can attest to this because we put up a lot of reviews that are not very friendly to us, but basically if there's hate speech, excessive swearing, links to maybe porn or competitors, that kind of stuff, that stuff gets filtered out. Any review that is legitimate of like, I don't like Easy Green because of the way the bottle is shaped and it's a 1 star, that stays. we first will always reach out and be like, hey, is there anything we can do to explain the product to you, or something like that first. But yeah, so 99% of all reviews, and I think that's what's important here is we're not cooking the books in that there's a lot of stores, because with apps like this, you have the ability to just not publish stuff. And so I think it's very important to know that we're publishing even the bad reviews. And so, yeah. So we get both of these where we're basically, we publish everything short of a very small amount. And if we go back to our store, you can actually see overall, I thought this was cool. I didn't even know this stat, actually. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let me go back here. Oh, view reviews. That's what I want to do. Yeah, right here. So overall, with our 57,000 views, so that means roughly, 1,600 reviews were left when people weren't logged in to get verified. But 91% of all reviews coming in are 5-star and 4% are 4-star. So in my mind, there's basically like 95% of people are happy with our products. And then we have 5% that aren't, with 2%, probably just thinking we're terrible. And then the 3 and 2 stars being very fair feedback. And not that 1 stars could be fair too. So I don't want to discredit all of them, but a lot of them come in 1-star reviews, as you guys have read, kind of guns a-blazing, like they're out for a diatribe on how angry they are based on something. So, but I just wanted to chime in on that and, kind of tell you guys to watch out there. This is something that I'm going to work on our marketing so people know that we're honest, because I think that's part of our value. Not only do we test our products and we're making them better and we're standing behind it with the no hassle guarantee and all of these things, but when you do your research on our website, it will also be truthful. Which I read something, what was it? Like a couple days ago. And it was that a business being transparent, honest, and truthful and things like that shouldn't be a new form of marketing, right? Like that shouldn't be. I think it was on Reddit where people were saying things were getting twisted. Like people would post, "This company's only refunding its customers to get good publicity," and then some other people would chime in and be like, "But what's the alternative? They could just not refund people? Like we should encourage businesses to do ethical things and then not tear them down for doing the ethical thing, because if you get torn down for doing the good thing and you get torn down for doing the bad thing, they'll just do the bad thing." And I thought that was very true, in that there's not always an ulterior motive. Is having great customer service and making good products, is that an attempt to sell more stuff? 100%. We want to sell more stuff. Is it also just being a good human being in a business? Yes. But those can definitely go hand in hand. And we don't only treat our customers right so they'll buy again. We also treat our customers right because we want to be good people. The same thing. We're good to our neighbors, not because we're trying to get something from them, but because we want to be good humans. That's right. This is the mug you can actually buy. Left hand only, though. Almost over my convention crud. All right. What are some questions? Then I want to jump into. Oh, hold on. I want to jump into another thing on the website here. Okie doke. I've got a problem in my 54-liter tank, which that's roughly like 12 gallons. Since day one, no algae issues. Now we're week 6 and it's full of hair algae. There are 15 ember tetras and running a hang-on back with biological and mechanical. So first, realize the timeline makes complete sense, right? Take it from you have a fish tank and make it a car. I have a car, Corey, and on day 1, it was spotless and clean. Now we are 6 weeks in and it's dirty. Like, yeah, you used it. That's, that's kind of how this is going to work. When it comes to your aquarium, things are pretty much always going to start off looking clean and correct and all of that. And then as nature starts working, right? And algae will start growing. Maybe you get some infusoria growing. Maybe you get some little creepy crawlies growing. The fish are pooping. Things are starting to actually happen, processes. And one of the processes might be you're feeding food. You have fish now, right? So you're dropping in food and phosphates are building up. And with this excess phosphates, you might be growing algae, right? And so what's the remedy here? Well, it might be cleaning your car. That might be one. It also might be that you're going to go, okay, well, maybe I feed a food with less phosphate, or maybe I change more water, or maybe I add plants that are going to use up that phosphate, right? And so that's what you need to focus on, is kind of the balance. At 6 weeks, it would be very hard to balance any aquarium. It's easy to cycle one, make stuff live, but kind of think of it like maybe another good analogy is you plant your yard or your garden. 6 weeks in, it's not grown in, it's not ready, it's not, the roots aren't 3 feet deep, they're surface level, right? And so with nature in general, you have to nurture it. And that's what we're doing inside of an aquarium, is we got to nurture this nature. And so even with this brand new setup, we should look at it as like, well, it's going to take years for it to grow in. And that's what happens when you see people's yards, right? You could spend a bunch of money and it will look good, but it doesn't look grown in like someone who did that 20 years ago. And now it's really, the trees are 30 feet tall and everything. Maybe you planted the trees, 6 feet apart, knowing they'll grow in eventually. Well, that growing in might take 40 years. And your aquarium is going to be very much that. You took all the right ingredients, you put them together, but there's that, seasoned time, that marinating time, that grow-in time. All of those are what's at play here. And so, yeah, algae is going to be some of that. And in the yard example, maybe you're going to get a bunch of weeds growing between the trees, right? Dandelions are popping up. But when those trees are fully grown in, they shade that area. Now there's no weeds underneath, right? And so it's a time thing, and learning. Maybe you have to get out there and you have to weed it for the next 2 or 3 years until it gets established. Maybe you've got to remove that algae until your plants get a little bit bigger, or you figure out, ooh, I need to turn my light down a little bit, or I need to switch food, or a mono shrimp are now big enough they can keep up with it, right? So that's that balance. The balance is always changing in an aquarium, no matter what you do. If you do nothing, it's changing. If you're feeding it and changing water, it's changing. If the fish are growing, it's changing. If the plants are growing, it's changing. Always change. And it's our job to observe change and then hopefully make educated decisions that will continue that aquarium in the direction we would like to see it go, right? So don't feel like you're doing something wrong necessarily. You're totally in where you need to be at 6 weeks. In fact, all of my aquariums, I try not to even start adding fish until I am growing algae. I want to see that life has started, and now I can start adjusting those things. Do you think it's safe to slide the edge of my HDPE background? That's like a type of plastic, right? Let me Google that. I feel like that's a type of plastic that I could get wrong if I wasn't Googling. It is high density polyethylene. What is like a common name for that? It looks like it's just like PVC pipe almost. All right, but the original question is, do I think it's safe to slide the edge of my background under the top rim of my tank to secure it? Well, probably. It depends on how buoyant it is, right? Like if that's really putting a lot of pressure, that could be problematic. But I don't think you're going to have that much upward pressure that way, and some gravel is going to help hold it down. So I think you'll probably be okay. That being said, I don't have great experience with this. Yeah, I'm looking at high density polyethylene plastic sheets on eBay right now. They kind of look like cutting board material. Same plastic as milk jugs. Yeah, I think it's mostly just about the buoyancy. How much upward pressure would it be applying? I don't think it's going to be a crazy amount. That being said, you will know. So like me, I know I could put like styrofoam there. If it wanted to float, it wouldn't be enough upward pressure to probably ever make a difference in my life. But this is your tank and not my tank. I don't know how old it is. I don't know exactly what you're doing. I feel like it's probably okay from what I've seen. Oh, on the outside edge. So like on the outside. Yeah, if it's outside the aquarium, there wouldn't be the water to create the lift. I think that'd be no problem. Yeah, so I think what you're okay, I think I know what you're saying now. A very thin sheet to go up underneath to be held. Yes, that just like construction paper or anything else, I think that'll be fine for you. I do think that that will not be an issue. I'm gonna turn the AC on, even though it's not that hot anymore. It did rain, thank goodness. We got some rain. All right, now I want to talk about let some more questions kind of roll in and that, but I want to talk about our Aquarium Co-op Lite. You'll see it coming up in a video, and there's been a lot of questions, but I haven't finished the product listing, but now you can read about it a little bit, and we're going to be building it out more and more. There needs, we got to put a lot more info out about it, but this will get your, get you a taste, if you will. Let me get this and this. So here is the Aquarium Co-op LED, officially the Easy Plant LED, and you can see the sizes here. If I click on it, you'll see my cursor. There we go. 12-inch, 20-inch, 24, 30, 36, and 48. The 16-inch we hope to launch on the next run. You can see different pictures of our light. Just some stuff to click through. CRI rating of 95. To the lighting nerds out there, they'll be like, ooh, yeah, it's going to have good clarity, or not good clarity, good color, color rendering index. Fish and plants and stuff are going to look amazing, as well as growing plants well. It's got the 3 modes. So you've got kind of full on, you've got dimmed, and you've got a nighttime mode, and you also have off. And that's all controlled on this very simple remote. And that's by design. The hope here is that everybody that's in chat right now, you could have someone saying, hey, I just got a 30-gallon tank. I want to put a 30-inch light on it, and I want to grow Crypts and Anubias and Java ferns. What light setting should I use? And then you guys and the audience, you go, oh, well, I'm doing that, and I'm running mine at 3 clicks from the bottom, right? Or someone else goes, I'm running mine at 2 clicks from the top, or whatever it is. And the whole goal that I've set out here is that using the Easy Plant LED plus Easy Green will make it dang near impossible to not be able to grow plants. And that's what I'm going to show in video and do all of that long term, is that you will grow something. You might grow plants and algae, but you will grow plants, right? And then you can learn, well, how do I grow plants and not so much the algae? But this is, it really has been shocking to learn how many people are still struggling with plants. And I really want to make a system where you will grow plants. 100% you will grow plants. You might grow a ton of algae, but that is a different skill that we can get at over time. So you can see here, highly, highly water resistant. I myself have tested it at 30 minutes completely submerged to no ill effect. A little bit of water got in, but it dried out. Still works fine to stay. Still running in my fish room right now. Here is a little thing you can look at that shows different specs. So the amount of watts, the amount of lumens, right? Which lumens, the reason we have lumens is that's what most companies are putting on their lights on Amazon and that kind of stuff. And so that way you can compare an apples to apples and not an apples to oranges type scenario. We're going to do a bunch of PAR data and everything. I'm looking, and I reached out on the forum, and maybe you guys will know in the chat, a good way to provide the PAR data for every size tank, but then people want to know on a 75-gallon, in the corners, what's the PAR versus right under the light. That'll be different. And so I don't know if there's going to be a great mathematical formula that'll get people close. If we just need to create the world's biggest spreadsheet with, crowdsourced data of everybody's submitting it, but how many people are going to have PAR meters and have the same PAR meter and have the same water clarity and have the same, did you put it on a glass top or didn't put it on a glass top? But we'll definitely at some point be providing PAR data for you. What I can tell you is this light is currently stronger than any other light we sell. Not like oh my gosh, that is so crazy powerful. It gave me a tan, but it is more powerful. The good news is it also is more efficient. This super zoom button is not giving me what I want. Well, the wattage, it's more efficient. Like the biggest one, I hate this button. Come on. Let me click super zoom. Will that do it? Oh, that only puts it at the bottom of the screen for you. Anyway, the biggest one is 50 watts, which is, like 9 watts less than a Fluval light. Huh, great. My thing's breaking live on camera. Come on, get in there. There we go. And so like the 48 inch will be $149.99, 30 inch $129.99. What are some other things? Oh, 12-foot cord, by the way. So it's got a really long cord. You can adjust the feet, I guess. What do you call that? I don't know. The thingies. You adjust the thingies. It shouldn't get so hot that it's going to burn you like some lights will. But basically, I just want to show you guys so that way you can come here, you can read about it, you can learn about it. It'll get updates over time. And you can put your phone number in here and we'll text you when it does go live. Now, unfortunately, you can see in the red, we're hoping to have it available in December or January. Huh, there's a C right there. I need to edit that out. And the reason being, this light has actually been done in production. So it's sitting at the factory for the past 3 weeks. But that, I think it's province in China, has been locked down from COVID. So our light's just sitting there and it can't make it to an exporter. And so each week that goes by, we're more and more unlikely to make it before the end of the year. We're definitely trying very hard. But that's why I can't give you guys a clear timeline, because in a perfect world, it should have left a week ago. And yet we're hoping maybe it could get to the exporters this week and maybe leave in the next week or two. But you can sign up for a notification if you'd like. You'll just get a notification when they're available. Then you can make a choice on whether you'd like to purchase one then. Maybe you can't wait that long. I totally get it. In a perfect world, they'd have been here a little while ago. So we'll just keep doing what we can do. All right. I would love to see an in-depth video on what it looks like on your tanks. Yeah, so I don't know if it's the next video that'll come out, but I did a video all about, I made a shrimp crypt garden tank, and the light is on there. So I kind of showed it a little bit, and I'm only running it at like half-ish power because it's way too bright on a 40 breeder for just crypts. So, but that my hope is this, right? So if you think about a company on a long spectrum, we started with we're a little local fish store, and now we're where we are right now. Where are we going to be in another 10 years, right? And so to really help out the hobby, my thoughts are we can at least help people with our products. And what I mean by that is, so right now, when you go and you look at a plant, right? Maybe I need to do that live with you guys just to kind of show you some of the stuff. So here we're looking at a light. Let's look at this Amazon sword, right? And then we go to... Oh, did we get rid of lighting requirements? I think we did. Okay. So we got rid of lighting requirements because it didn't make a whole lot of sense based on the tank. If you put it in a 800 gallon like me, right, the light it's going to need it's going to need quite a bit of light. If you put it in a 10 gallon, it's not going to need as much light because it's so shallow. But the goal here is that we create like a chart or a way in which the light requirement comes back, and now it says like, hey, in most of, maybe from like 20 gallon to 55 or 75 gallon, this light requires a 3, right? As in, on our light, 3 notches from the bottom, it will grow, right? And then maybe you're looking at, you come down here and you look at Scarlet Temple, right? Now this thing's going to tell you, hey, the easy plant LED needs to be like max. To get these purple and reds that you want, it really wants a lot of light. And so Then we can start writing articles and other things to help explain, well, if you're cranking the light out for your reds and your stem plants are going fast, that's going to explain why your Anubias and Java fern might be like, oh, they don't look so good. They're getting starved out, right? And they're getting too much light and things like that. And so what I've realized is if we can get people using all of our products, one, it's good for business. Let's be honest. But two, it now makes it way easier for customer service and myself in videos to talk apples to apples. Hey, use our product in this way, you'll get this result on average. Now, that doesn't work for the entire world, right? But it's going to help quite a bit, I think. We only sell LEDs. They don't make T5s and T8s anymore in the UK. Heaters depend on what fish, of course, and how warm or cold the house is. Yeah, that's LEDs are kind of the way of the future, and there's a big difference in LEDs, and no doubt there's people that are now going to start analyzing our LED versus other LED lights, and we opted for more energy efficient LED lights, or LEDs, the actual LEDs. When you're more efficient, you have things like less heat, less power. As power costs keep rising, we want to make sure we're efficient with it, right? And with less power going into the light, less heat going into a tank during summer with AC and those types of things. Now in the winter, if it's super cold, that's you wouldn't mind having more, but it's just our lights are more expensive, but you're gonna get this. There's this band of customer where they care about efficiency, they care about longevity. Someone said 3-year warranty is generous. We've really, if you read the description, I started with how do I make a light that has the best chance of lasting an insanely long time? Reducing heat, reducing susceptibility to water, not having a remote that gets lost, not having app updates break stuff. So we approached it from that, right? And then we looked at every feature a light could have and said, this feature that this light could have, would it be justified for this amount of money that it would cost? And if we didn't feel like the return was there, we didn't put it in there, right? And so even though it costs more to make your light crazy high water resistant, I do think that's worth it, because if a cat knocks it in, you knock it in, any of these things happen. When you invest in expensive light, you don't want it to break. Now, if you're using a $20, eBay or Amazon light, it's just $20, you buy another one. But when something you invest in, you want it to work for a long time, that's something that needs to last. And I think what's going to happen is, over time, half of the selling value of our light is going to be that hobbyist sharing interaction. I see it in the Facebook groups and stuff all the time where you say, oh, I want to buy this light. Is it any good? Does it grow plants? And I would love it to come back with, yes, it does. Here's my tank. I run at this setting. You could do that too. So I think over time, that secondary benefit will unfold. At the beginning, it won't be there because not enough people will have it. I wish the Fluval 3.0 had an adapter for rimmed tanks. Had an adapter for rimmed tanks. Which Fluval light? I'm trying to think of, or in which way, I guess. I'm not understanding that part, I think. Cat's getting all the blame for lights falling in the water. I mean, I think that's just the most logical one. We lose at least one light a month at our fish store. It's just because every day, right, if you have 100 different customers, you're moving the lights and working and catching fish, and eventually you move one back and you go, oh, I didn't put the top back on. Dunk. And with our Stingray lights, which I do love, by the way, the cheapest Stingray light, the minute they touch water, boom, they're gone. Right? Every once in a while you get one oh my God, it didn't break. But for the most part, boom, they're gone. And they also don't put enough light out for our planet tanks. So at the warehouse and the store, we use the Fluval lights for all of those. And it's because I can put out enough light to really grow the plants the way we need to. So. Will you guys sell risers for the light? No. Nope. I will place a large amount of money of this. There will be a secondary market that pops up for risers. Every other mainstream light has gotten it. You find them on Etsy and eBay and forums and stuff like that. But it's a money losing proposition to create a product like a riser that would be an official accessory to the company that would fit brimless tanks, would fit a thick 125 gallon rim tank, and also a 5.5 gallon tank and all of that, and create the stability you need to not run into problems and liabilities. And so there's a bunch of ways to do that, and a bunch of people will do it out of acrylic, and you'll pay your $20 and you'll get what you need. But the average person, myself included, I want it as close to the water as I can get it, so I'm not getting light in my eyes. So, we design products for what we think will be the masses, and there's always going to be and maybe that's only 65%. 65% of people that buy our light will be like, this is optimized as well as it could be. And then there'll be 35% go, in my use case, it would be better if it did this. And I totally get there's going to be that's a big section. But unfortunately, I don't think you can develop most products to cover more than about 65% if you're doing it right. So that'll be a limitation. But people will be able to, make parts and things like that and get it the way they want. What's my opinion on Kessel lights? I think they're really cool if you like the shimmer effect and you like paying way too much money. They look cool. They've got a design, artistic element to them. But even the thing to mount it to your aquarium is $50. When you buy the light, you don't even get the way to mount it. So, and their main focus is not aquarium lighting, it's military LED. So most of that Kessel is military contracts and other lighting for other applications. And it was kind of one of those, we do all of this for lighting, we could do aquarium lighting too. And it's high end, it's nice. I wouldn't say that I'm not gonna throw it away if I got 5 of these lights, they'd be great, but I've never purchased one myself, right? So I've never gone out and said, hey, this is a good value. How much is a Kessel light these days? I don't know if they've changed price at all or anything because I don't follow them. Let's see, the Kessel 880 Tuna Sun. On Amazon, it looks like $139 for that thing. Okay, well, maybe that thing's, you still don't get the way to mount it. The gooseneck clamps down to $32. All right. Sorry, I got convention crud still. But that could be a thing. I don't know if you have to. No, you can. It's got knobs on top, but if you want to get the controller to control, that's another $100. So, to be fair, I'm speaking from when I analyzed them a while ago, and yeah, so this one's 238. Okay, so here's one, the Kessel 360X, right? It's $444. So their product range is expanded. I am not super fluent with it because it's much better for cube tanks, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Is it bad to keep plants? Wait, is it bad for plants to keep a tank at high nitrates? Not really. As long as you've got the other elements in there for the plants to uptake it, I actually think it's good. Danny's Aquarium says, I have Kessels. They're great lights, but always shine into my eyes when looking into my tanks. But that's not a Kessel problem. That's every light, pendant light, hanging light, tank that's been raised. It does create nice shimmers and things, and I get it, but it's a personal preference. I very much like aquariums lit very well and not trying to catch as little as light in your eye as you can. That's my my hope. I made it to the co-op store on Friday as I had hoped. I got everything on my list. I even found 2 bamboo shrimp my wife was asking for. I intended to get the name of the guy helping me to shout out. Well, I will praise the retail crew for you, and hopefully they'll all go, yes, we did a good job. They're very much a team player. Oh, wait, but I forgot his name. Long blonde hair. Did a super great job. I got out just the evening rush was hitting the store. Yes, it can be very, very busy on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's why we're expanding the store. It's not uncommon to have lines, which it's great on one hand and terrible on another. What plants would I use for a 3.4 gallon betta tank? I personally would just probably load up on Anubias, just because it's going to grow really slow and I don't have to, like one, you buy an Anubias, like, hey, that's half the tank. You buy 2 or 3 of them and now you got a jungle and you only got to trim it every 3 or 4 months. That's what I would do. You could also do crypts. I mean, there's other options, but a few Anubias, I think, because most people will probably end up upgrading. You'll get bored with a 3.4. Not everybody, but I would. After 6 months of just like, yeah, this thing's great. Then I go, yeah, what if I got a 10 gallon? Then I could move my bed up to a 10. I could do more. And you'll be able to bring those plants over easy. I want to start a plant tank, but I don't know how long it will take to add my fish to a brand new plant tank. Well, I would say start a plant tank, and you can. The great news about plants is you can do that right away, right? Day one, you can add plants, have fun, become an aquatic gardener, and then when you're, okay, well, I've got it fairly planted, the plants are growing really well. Ooh, I'm starting to get a little bit of algae. Maybe then you start adding some of your first fish, right? And I would say almost take it in phases of like go through the plant phase, and by the time you're done with your plant phase, you're at the perfect opportunity for the fish phase, right? I know we all want it all at once, but if you slow down and savor it a little bit, it actually just makes it easier for you. Alexander Engelhart coming in with the 50 subs. Thank you so much, buddy. If you're making, or if you're hanging out, you got a chance to get a free membership. So Wesley's Fish Club says, did the stroopwafels survive the trip? It's confession time. I haven't even admitted it to Joel yet. They're sitting somewhere at the Shrimp King's house. When I packed and I flew home and I opened my stuff and I'm like, wait, where's all the stuff? And so all the stroopwafels and other little goodies that I got. I did eat the chips. Someone gave me some chips. I did eat those chips in a car ride. But all the stroopwafels, didn't even get to open them. Forgot them in Germany. So I've failed Corydoras and the people that gave them to me. So my apologies for that. What are the chances of you venturing into some different plants? Don't get me wrong, you have great plants, but a new variety would be completely and utterly amazing. That would depend on the farms. I could launch 50 new plants tomorrow, and then you guys could just spam candy for the next 6 months going, when are you going to get them back in stock? And we go, well, the farm had 1,000. We sold 1,000 in 2.1 weeks, and their grow time is 9 months. That's the problem. The problem is when we go to sell something, right? It's an ordeal. It's negotiating. It's not price or anything like that. We don't even spend any time on that really. It's, can you even make enough to just not anger our customers, right? That's the question. And most times the answer is no. Because let's say like when I was just Aquarium Co-op, right? I'm a store. Just a store. No online store, just Aquarium Co-op. And I might go, well, yeah, I think I probably need like 12, maybe 18 if I'm going to put them on sale this week of Anubias cophifolia, right? And now, so let's say every store is buying 12 or 6. I mean, we were a planet store, so but you extrapolate that over 50 types of plants. Now you're ordering 600 plants, right? We're at the point now where it's how many boxes of that plant can we buy, right? And so it might be that, let me see if I have any, if I can even look at, I don't know if we've written the PO yet for next week, because I think they're due tonight. But let me see. I might, but it's hundreds and hundreds of each type of plant, and the problem becomes for us, any type of delay really messes with the farms, right? So there's also times when we just run out of stuff where it's like, oh, we were only going to sell 300 of that Anubias. We sold 582 of them this week. Oof. We can't just make that up, right? So then we go, okay, we better order 600 again. And now the farm's going, but wait, you just consumed 2 weeks of growth in the cycle, right, of 6 months in a week. You can't just be like, if you started up today, you're still 6 months out from fixing that problem, right? And so we do add plants. Like the latest one that we added was Bucephalandra. It was Buse. Which one was it? I want to make sure I call it the right one. Is this? Oh wait, Bucephalandra Black Pearl. That was the latest one we have added. And also it's like Myaca fluvitalis. We've been sold out for a very long time, and we've now found a different way to be doing it, and we hopefully are going to be able to keep it in stock. But it's not very many businesses where you're just sitting out of stock because they don't exist. It's usually a business that can't afford to hold that much stock or something like that. And so it's a very frustrating spot to be in when your customers want it, you have the money to buy it, but they don't exist. A lot of stuff got a taste of that during COVID, and we're still dealing with COVID problems. But there's also natural disasters, right? So tornadoes hitting Florida really messed up and delayed shipments and that kind of stuff. Aponteguetans still haven't fully recovered from the tsunamis, I think, that hit them. And so a bad natural disaster could impact plant growth for 10, 15 years, right? Or let's look at the mossballs, the zebra mussels, right? We're probably at least a year out from that, still don't have them. And so you just end up with these long-lasting effects. Let me see, any plants? I click on this, let's see. No. Anyway, Alexander Engelhardt coming in with another 50. I even saw G-Bear got one, nice. So getting those free memberships, be sure to take advantage of them. Watch all of the past talks that we pay for people to give, and then also like sync up your account. So if you sync up your account with the website, when you place an order, you're going to save 5%. And so it's a great excuse. If you got a free membership, you're going to save 5% on everything you buy. If you were going to place an order, place it while you got the free membership. Saves you 5%. If you're already spending $100 or more on average per month, which there's a decent amount of people that do that, you may as well become a member. You save 5%, pays for itself. It's free. Then you can start getting, grab them off my desk, membership coins, the 1 and the 2 year, right? Other little freebies and promos throughout the years. Am I happy with the mini splits in the fish room? Yeah, I am happy with them. I'm not sure that I could tell you that, like, I haven't had normal heating before. So what do I mean by that? I mean that I haven't had like a normal furnace in my fish room to compare that to the mini splits, but the mini splits seem awesome. I'm even considering getting one just for AC and heat in this room, but I'm kind of just too cheap to do it for one room because I've got my little heater, I've got my little AC unit, and it would probably be like $5,000 or something just to thermally control this room, which seems ridiculous to me for one room. Let's see here. Any more cold water fish videos soon? I haven't filmed any, and I don't have really many in my fish room at the moment. So I would say not likely super quick, but I do need to film some more videos. My voice is finally back to almost normal with minimal sniffling and problems. So I might be able to get some more videos done this week. And that is something, with energy costs and things like that and it getting cooler. I think, they're very valid topics. So just don't know if they'll be well watched, but I think they'll be useful. All the questions got spammed away with free memberships. What a bad problem to have, right? Any freshwater plants in local lakes that can go in my aquariums? Depends on where you live. Here in the Northwest, not so many. They like to be in much cooler water. So if you go get a good moss or something else, you bring them home, you put them in your aquarium. A lot of times you'll watch them just melt back, and it's for being too warm. But things like Vallisnerium, banana plants, maybe Elodia, a few others actually come or grown in the United States. And so you might be able to go just in the wild and grab some. So, but that's mostly like where it's warmer. So I would say kind of. Well, I have a video on my desk crypt tank. No, I don't have a tank on my desk anymore. I realized that while I kind of wanted it, I was just too lazy to not have it. I don't have any water up here. The water changes were ridiculous, and yeah, so I bailed, fully bailed on it. Want to let you know your customer service is amazing. Lost an order due to USPS and candy was amazing. Put plants in, and to my surprise, first batch of shrimplets. Nice. I wouldn't have thought there'd be shrimp. Don't know. Yeah, our goal is hassle free, which there really can't be hassle free because hassle free would mean you didn't have to email us. Like we would just send you stuff all day long without you knowing it. But the polar opposite of prove your firstborn before we'll send you a refund or another product. It's like just give us a reasonable way to verify that something's wrong and we'll make it right. We can't just make it where it's like, I sent an email and asked for $1 million and then you gave it to me. It's like, well, you got to prove, oh, you spent $1 million. Oh, it didn't come in. Okay, we better do it. I just started CO2 injection in my planted tank. How do I know how much to adjust my other nutrients? A test kit would be one way. Watching your plants would be another way. As you add CO2, in theory, if you were being limited by CO2, which that's like a first question, were you ever being limited by CO2? But if you were, your plants could now grow faster. But if you weren't being limited by CO2, that doesn't mean they would grow faster at all. Now, a lot of people, when they do add CO2, they'll go, oh, I better get a new light, and I better do this, and I better do that. If you're making all those changes, likely you will see like differences and need to measure it. But watching your plants for deficiencies, especially, kind of losing of color or, turning yellow, things like that, that'd be the first step. Just monitoring water parameters like nitrates. That's the easiest one to monitor is nitrates. If you're running out of that, you don't have enough. But if you did have enough nitrates, you can still run out of other stuff too. But that's the easiest one to track and keep going with. So I would start there. That's where my start would be. I could use $1 million. Me too. I could use $1 million. Roots are overtaking my substrate. Is it a sign I need more root tabs or more substrate? I guess I'd have to see that picture, but a good root structure is a sign of healthy plants. Not so much that it necessarily needs something. That being said, like we've got trees in our yard where the roots have now grown like towards the surface. We need to put more dirt over them. And so you might, if you got crazy good growth, you might have to add a little bit, but without really seeing it, I don't know that I could guide you in a proper direction. I know a big question we've been getting, I've seen a few times. When's our, I don't think I have it in here anymore. When's our air pump, the one that has a battery built in and everything coming out? Well, ideally, this year. the problem is like our manufacturers are kind of in the same provinces, and so they've been shut down with COVID. So what seems like an eternity for us, right? Of like, hey, you said you were working on that. Like we are, but if the factory shut down, no work can be done. And so 2 or 3 weeks can go by and zero change happens. So let me see if I can even can I get pictures? I know I've got a video. Could I make a video play? That's too much work on stream, but I know we've got videos. I just need to get them in my hand, play with it. Yep, great. Make it and send it. But they can't, legally, they can't, ship it out from DHL or anything like that. Nothing can work over there at the moment. So we just wait. And then that leads to the biggest answer of like, yeah, we hope. I can't give you a date. The worst thing I can do in business is say, it'll be here December 12th. And then it's not here, and there's an outrage of, you said. And the answer is, I don't know. I hope. I hope it's tomorrow. But the reality is probably sometime in December. If we're really lucky, sometime in November. But that would mean, like, everything opens up tomorrow. Production, like, we get shipped. Production starts right away, and boom, we're there. I don't think that it can happen that fast, though. What's my view on Purigen? The stuff seems to work great for me. Any downsides? The only downside for me is I'm too lazy to recharge it. So I do love Purigen. I think it works great. And I always I buy one, I use it, I put it in a bucket. I buy one, I use it, I put it in a bucket. Pretty soon I got a big bucket full of the used ones. And I tell myself, I'm going to recharge these. And then I'm going to use them again. And then pretty soon I just stop buying them, and that bucket sits over there, and then it's got a spider web on it, and I'm gonna do that one of these days. And then I just never do it. For a while, and maybe we'll start that up someday. For a while at the store, we were doing a program because I knew I was lazy, and I thought other people, they're probably lazy like me. And so what we were doing is, if you brought us a Purigen pouch, we'd give you like $2 off you bought a new one, or something like that. And then we would recharge it, and we would sell renewed used ones at a discount. And so you could come in and go, hey, there's a clean reused one, and maybe it's $6. You trade in your old one, hey, now it's only $4. And then, but over time, people were getting angry because people would forget to bring them in, and then they couldn't buy another used one, and it kind of turns that headache of I keep turning them in, and I keep getting new ones, but there's never used ones for me to get back. And it's well, because other people came in, and so it became this huge thing to manage. But I like Purigen, and I like the concept of recharging it. I just know in practice, I never seem to find the time of yeah, got a little time off work. Oh yeah, let me break out the bleach and go work on my Purigen bags. I aspire to be the person that does that. And I have done it in the past, sparingly, but maybe it's the wisdom I've gained as I get a year older every year. I'm just going, I already know I'm going to be too lazy to do that. So, no kidding, I've looked at Purigen, but the fact I would have to recharge it, no thanks. Yeah. It really is good if you get yourself down to a, real good schedule and everything. It can work out really well, but I'm just not that person, I guess. The idea of using bleach to recharge Purigen freaks me out. Can peroxide be used instead? I think it has to be bleach, but if you have chlorine in your water, you have bleach every time you change water. People don't really think about that. The chlorinator breaks down the bleach. If you follow the process, it's going to work fine. That's the reality. Does hard water really affect plant growth? My GH is 197 ppm. My opinion, no. Corey, excuse for stuff, so I'm too lazy. Yeah, I'm my own harshest critic. I learned probably 10 years, well, not 10 years ago, probably 6 years ago. Once I was in business and I was truly just giving all my time to the business, I learned that I would cause less harm being brutally honest. And this happens in business and with employees and stuff all the time. And Candy could probably speak to it. I think we've been sitting around a campfire before. And, someone will say something like, nah, it's not doing it. Like, just as blunt as can be, because it's not worth me trying to go, maybe I'll be a superhero and I'll pull all this off when I already know I'm not. I already know, like, no, I'm just not going to do it. I already know. Like, I'd rather be the bad guy right now today than string you along and then be the bad guy. So it's easier for me to go, nope, I already know. I'm gonna be too lazy, or I'm not gonna want to do it, or I'm gonna agree to it today and then curse myself for the next 8 weeks and then find a way to get out of it. I just try to be brutally honest from the get-go, and it can be hard to work with me until you learn that it's not the I'm doing it out of kindness. I would much rather be honest and let you down today than let you down in 12 weeks because I said I would do it. So I try to really, if I do say I'm going to do something, I hold myself to it, and that's just the way. Why does Andrew go by Dean? I forget the story. I think it's because maybe his dad's name was Andrew, and two Andrews in the same house. It was easier to go by Dean. I think that's why Dean did that. But I forget now. I remember, like, I think I learned that is the name he went by. I think it was when I was buying him a plane ticket or something to go somewhere. I was like, what? I didn't know your name the whole time? Or, I mean, obviously it's his name, but you know what I mean. All right. Everyone's asking for discounts. Do I have senior discounts? Do I have veteran discounts? Let me be the brutally honest. Nope. I've got a membership discount. And I've got snot from COVID. Not COVID. Convention crud. I don't have COVID. I actually test for COVID. From COVID crud. But it's a slippery slope with discounts. The minute you go, well, I've got a senior discount. I've got a veteran discount. I've got, a paramedic discount and a teacher discount and a student discount and a police officer discount and a firefighter discount and you end up going down the rabbit hole where you've got all these discounts. Then what you start getting is, then customer service starts getting overrun with, well, I'm a member and I'm a senior. Can I get 10%? I'm this and this. Can I do this? Can I do this? And can I do that? Can I do this? And can I do that? I'm getting my member discount, or I'm getting my veteran discount, but it's not stacking with the plant discount or this or that. And so there's multi facets to it. There's the make sure we don't just lose money, where it's like, oh, they're stacking a bunch of discounts. That's terrible. Margin's not there. There's we've now made it so complicated that the website's getting bogged down and there's bugs. There's that aspect. There's customer service losing their mind. One of the biggest problems with offering a discount like that is someone places their order, then they learn, oh my gosh, there's a veteran discount, and I'm going to harass customer service till I get my 42 cents back. And the problem with that is the customer service agent cost me $2.90 to even field that thing. The 42 cents is the irrelevant part. And then also there's the whole, we're honestly just trying to keep the price as cheap as possible for everybody. And then our belief, or at least my belief, the way I can justify it in my mind, a paying member is paying $5 a month, right? They're putting into this group pot, whether they buy from us or not. And then we're not really losing that money when they buy us the product. So it's kind of like you prepaid. So it's like, oh, you pre-bought a $5 gift card, basically, and you get some benefits, right? Some extra stuff. But when you just offer a discount for being in these different groups, there's not that fun to help average it out and things like that. So, yeah, that's why. How's the business doing going into wintertime? We're starting to see a little bit of bump. It's really not as big as it was in years past, but to all of you that are purchasing from us, thank you so much. We know that times are tight and rough and all of that. And we're working hard to make sure we make it, is basically the answer. You're going to see more and more advertisements, marketing. Advertisements might not be right, but marketing from us. Because I think there is a difference there. Advertising is just buy Diet Coke. You should buy it from us. Buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. where marketing, the way at least I try to approach it, is to be helpful in some way. So for instance, we sent out a text message on Friday that said, hey, we have 54 out of 56 variants of plants in stock. In my mind, that was being helpful because so often we go, well, I want to buy plants for you, but you're always out of stock on XYZ. I want to get all my plants at one time. So I'm trying to help people go, hey, now's the time. We got almost all the plants in stock. Here's a great time, right? Where, and maybe like showing the way I use my pleco caves or this or that also is in, let me show you how to use a product. And then if that product makes sense for you, you would buy it. But if I'm just, advertising to me would be giving discounts and just saying just to buy the product and things like that. And so I'm focusing more on advertising to hopefully keep sales at a point where we don't have to lay anybody off or anything like that. And it just, hopefully business as usual. Susan Welenovsky, is that the Susan Welenovsky from the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society Club? If so, the orange shrimp that I have in my fish room right now are an attempt to find tiger shrimp as good as I got from you probably 15 years ago. If you're the same Susan Welenovsky, I still miss those shrimp. And if you happen to be culling and creating a line as good as you had back then, let me know, because they were the best tiger shrimp I have ever seen with the orange head and tails. How's the ping pong war going with Bob? Has Bob gotten any better since the shoulder surgery? We haven't played. He's been bugging me to a little bit, and I'm gonna give in. But I was out of town for a couple weeks, and then I've been sick for a couple weeks, and I almost offered to do it on Wednesday, and then I realized it was my wedding anniversary, and so I was like, oh, can't do that. So soon though, I think we're gonna get back into the ping pongies. I like to support companies that help out seniors and veterans. Yeah, everybody's got their own things. I like to support companies that help out kids and third world countries. Like everybody's got their own jam. Like, oh, this makes me feel good. And, and so I don't want to make it one of these things of like, you like to support seniors and veterans. Like, great. If you support us, we sent, medical assistance and we bought a boat for people in the Amazon. Right? I don't want, and that's the thing is I hate when it turns into that kind of stuff. Like we're a company, we'll never be able to do it all. We'll never be able to make everybody happy. And so we try to just kind of remain neutral and just be like, look, if you think we do good things, buy from us. If you don't. Go find, it's that 65%, 35% I was talking about earlier. I guarantee there is another fish company out there that is tailoring their marketing and all of that stuff towards seniors and veterans and everything. And by all means, please spend with them. Whoever you find to be the best candidate, purchase with them. That's, it's a sticky subject, and I can only really make myself look bad here. So I try to, just do good things where I see them as often as possible, which will never be enough. And it'll always be completely unfair because you help someone. Why not them? Why not this? Why not that? Why not this? It's always unfair. I could shut down and do nothing, or I can just keep going, hey, I saw a thing and I felt I could do it. I'm going to do it. And that's the way I try to run my life. It is. It is the same Susan Welenovsky. She can't seem to raise shrimp where she's at now. I'd heard that in the past. I was hoping it had changed, but long time no see, Susan. Is it okay to change water a couple hours after adding bio booster? I to be honest, I don't have the lab. This is a question I would ask Fritz Aquatics. I suspect that you would be undoing some of the good you've done by changing water that soon after dosing. However, I would say if you needed to, like, oh, ammonia's really high, like there's probably a reason you need to change the water, and so then I would just change the water and redose. Renee says, thank you for the text about the plant stock. Great timing for me. I got all I want except no red melon swords. Yeah, it was red melons and like maybe pink flamingos. I think we were out of pink flamingos, or it sold out really fast. One of the two. I think those are the two plants we didn't have. And yeah. Corey took a beating on a group of Cyprichromis. I have taken a beating on those. I do love Cyprichromis, though. I'm thinking of trying to breed some Julie Corys. Any advice on starting or educational materials? You probably are the luckiest person right now, the yellow shirt number one. If you paid $5, or you can get maybe someone will donate a membership and you might be the lucky one to get it. Our last speaker we had like 2 weeks ago, Rob McClure, spoke about breeding those. And they're one of the, easier ones to breed. So breeding Corydoras in general, you can get a lot of tips there. Yeah, it does cost $5. And, I realize that will be a cost of entry for some people. If that makes sense to you, that'd be a great thing. Otherwise, maybe we'll be able to get him back someday and have him do a talk like that for everybody. That's not always the case because a lot of people spend a lot of time developing a talk, and it's a way for them to travel and visit fish rooms and trade fish and do things like that. And so they don't necessarily want it to be, well, if everybody could just watch my talk with one click, I won't get invited to clubs and I won't be able to do things. And that's one of the ways they fund their hobby, where they're breeding fish that have never been bred before. And so we respect that. So if it makes sense though, hey, try it out. Was he lucky? Candy just, by the way, I want to rewind like a bunch and acknowledge, because it's never been brought up to me, but if I was doing it, I'd be perturbed about it. Candy has donated subs in probably 80% of the live streams I've done in the last 6 weeks or 2 months, 3 months, or whatever it is. And I always see it pop up, and I'm always in the middle of a topic, and then I forget to acknowledge that she donated 5 subs. So I want to take this extra time to go, I have seen them all, and I want to apologize for not calling them out each time. And I didn't want to diminish what you had done. I had just lost it in my train of thought most times. And so even though she has donated 5 this time, know that Candy has done it many more times. She's my employee. She really does care about the group and all of that. And I'm not putting any extra pressure on any other employees or anything. I'm just wanting to say, she modded and did stuff for the company well before we ever hired her. She's been in this for the long term, and a genuine thank you, and not meaning to slight by missing it time and time and time again, because I would think about it after the fact and go, oh man, I gotta stop doing that. Any thoughts on the Fluval's FX2? Is that a new Fluval thing? Is that, oh my gosh. Is it an FX2? Huh. What is this? Are they just, so the FX2 is an excellent filter choice with aquariums that are too big for the 407, but too small for the FX4. The all-new FX2 high-performance cancer filter is a compact version of the Fluval FX4. It's an ideal choice for aquariums up to 600 liters. It uses only 30 watts. I wonder if this is only like an Australian product, or I wonder if it's available in the US yet. What's weird is it's using the same, looks like it uses the same pump. So it's still 700 gallons per hour, which is a lot. Let me see if I can find one in America. Your online pet store. It seems like I could only find it in Australia so far. It must be like brand spanking new. Let me show you guys. Let me see if I can pull this up on the right screen here for you. I love learning about new stuff, by the way, because it's interesting to see. Like, this is only gonna get me into trouble, but it's interesting to see what companies are doing. And so let me cue that up. All right, so I think it's brand new because like I'm not seeing it for sale, but you can see the pictures still show FX4, but it'll say FX2, and then they'll talk about it, right? And it seems weird and smart at the same time. And what I mean by that is, like, I do love the FX4, FX6 kind of footprint of it. And they have been like the move for me if I was Hagen or Fluval would be probably discontinuing the Fluval like 407 or 408, whatever we're up to now series, and just going with this FX series. Less parts to maintain, all of that, and I do think this is just a better build than the other ones. I like the other one too. The differences is I think the 408 series, or 108, 208, 308, 408, it's a much narrower or smaller footprint. So I think it's easier to get in and out of places where the bucket, it's kind of the width of a bucket, can be a bear sometimes to get in and out of stands. But I'll say this, I'll probably try one. I don't know where it makes sense, right? Like if they're gonna discontinue the other ones, sure. But if they're not, I don't know that you need an FX2 and a 408. I'm not 100% sure which one I would buy off the top of my head necessarily. Well, I would probably buy the 408 knowing that on a smaller tank, I don't want as much flow. Just for planted community tanks and all of that. So, interesting though. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing yet. So I learned something new. It seems shorter than the FX4. Yeah, I think it is. FX4. Does it say how many baskets it has? Let's see. It might only have one basket. I'm trying to see though. This makes for good content when I'm reading in front of you guys, right? And it doesn't. I'm not seeing. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll be like, I don't know about all that. It does make sense because of like their UV sterilizer. I think it was only made to go with the FX line. So I could see, I wouldn't be shocked if in another year or two they got rid of the 407, 8 line as just that, because it makes sense to build products out for one line instead of multiple lines. But who knows? Do I plan on getting any rare rainbow fish such as Kali, Tawa rainbows? Nope. I do like rainbow fish, but usually the rarer they are, the less good they look. Fish that look great, typically available in the trade. There are some exceptions, like the Wapoga, was it? Not red lasers. I'm thinking of the red dragons and the green dragons. Those do look amazing, but aren't readily available. But most of them, it's mostly rare, and not so much like, ooh, that's actually really, really good looking. And I'm attracted to what looks really, really good first, or maybe it's got an odd behavior I enjoy, but just like, ooh, this is rare for the sake of rare. I'm just like, meh. How's Elmer and the new rack coming? The new rack's full of green water, so that's kind of good. I'm actually working on fixing that. Should be ready to import some stuff for that soon. Elmer's doing good. I did notice yesterday he took a chomp out of the plastic plant. So either A, I need to up how much he's eating, or B, maybe he's getting a little bitey. Could be either one. Rob DeFreeze says, it does say stacking basket. Yeah, I saw the stacking basket part. I just didn't see, removable stacking media baskets. Hold 1 gallon. I feel like the FX4 only has 3 baskets, though. In my mind, I'm thinking at the beginning, maybe you should have made it so that FX and the number is how many baskets. So like an FX2 is 2 baskets, an FX4 would be 4 baskets, and FX5 would be 5 baskets, but I think the FX5 has 4 baskets. So, but maybe they only thought they were going to launch one filter, and now they're going, oh, what are we going to do? But, and that doesn't make even more sense, because they went from the FX5 to the FX6, and they didn't get any more baskets. So, who knows? Maybe we're in that iPhone phase, or the Samsung Galaxy 2215 Ultra Plus Ultra Mini 9 6. Basically, you start adding numbers, and you're like, it's better. It's got more numbers. It sounds cooler. For a planted tank with tons of Java fern and some CO2, would it be better to buy an $18 sponge filter or a $70 hang-on back? Will the hang-on back be worth it for the little doodads? I myself would go with a sponge filter. Even if you don't buy it from me. I would honestly just, I would enjoy that better. Does Michael's Fish Room have red and green dragon? Of the rainbows? Let me see. I could be tempted to buy that fish. You probably, I'm guessing you have, yeah, you've got dark dragon guppy pairs and stuff. I was specifically talking about the rainbows. But Michael's Fish Room does sell guppies and other things. So, some plecos. Yeah. All right, back to stream. I had to follow up just because that rainbow is pretty rare. I saw him colored up in Gary Lang's Fish Room. Still love him. Curtis Schindler. It's been so long since I've been able to make a live stream. Well, you just got to dedicate your Sundays. That's what I try to do. Only works out about half the time, apparently. I personally do a hang-on back and sponge filter most of my tanks. I've been there, done that. Dean does that. I'm literally going for minimal work and ease of use, and so I always lean towards sponge filter will work. What are my thoughts on K1 bio balls and a DIY trash can filter? It's the best way to spend a couple $100 and waste a bunch of time. And what I mean by that is done right, crazy efficient, all of that. The reality is almost nobody needs that much filtration. That's a product that's kind of built to handle aquaponics and tilapia and just crazy, crazy ammonia loads. And we just typically don't really have that in our aquariums. There are some people, like, oh, I've got my Arapima, I've got, but even like Ladybird, who's eating like half a pound or more of food a day, doesn't even come close to needing something like that. And so really that's the big conversation when it comes to filtration. How much can this handle versus how much are you feeding? Like, oh, this can digest 6 pounds of food a day. Oh, and you feed an eighth of an ounce of food a day? You've just wasted kind of time, money, and energy. 1,300-gallon pond pool? Yeah, I would say make that 130,000 gallons, then you're more likely. Like, I would, and I'm speaking from experience of wasting lots of time and money. I've done what you're trying to do there, and in my opinion, it's kind of just a big waste of resources. And maybe you're gonna have 17 red-tailed catfish, and there's 6 gallons of water left and 1,294 gallons of fish in there. But the average person, like, you don't even see them. Like, and here's the thing: if you're really worried about waste and that kind of stuff, there's better ways to accomplish it. Like in the koi world, like at the point where you were actually worried about that much, you would start using things like drum filters and that kind of stuff that are backwashing every hour. And yeah, so if if your buddy's got it and he's selling it to you for $20, sure, knock yourself out, have a bunch of fun. If it's like, well, I'm gonna buy it, have it shipped to me, then I'm gonna buy a barrel, then how am I gonna run it? Okay, I gotta buy a blower to get enough motion going, and you might be into that for $500-600 for something you probably could have handled with like $50 worth of stuff. But if it's I want to have a science experiment, great, knock yourself out. If it's do I need this? Highly unlikely, in my opinion. Let's see. There was it here? Yeah. Just received a Zis egg tumbler and put some angelfish eggs in it. Today a few eggs are starting to hatch. When do I remove the babies? Usually it's after they've all hatched. You've got like a day or two where they're absorbing yolk sac. At that point, you want to put them somewhere where they can start eating, maybe baby brine you're hatching or whatever you're doing. Let's see here. Will your largest sponge filter work well in a 75 gallon? Uh, yes and no, depending on the stock level. But in general, probably. Yeah, big sponge filters, or just not even big ones, but that plus the walls of your aquarium, plus wood and decorations, all of those uh, things put together, right? For surface area of bacteria will probably handle what you're doing. Most aquariums, we've kind of gotten to a point where filtration and foods and things have gotten so good over the last 50 years that rarely do we actually enter a situation where we don't have enough filtration or bacteria. We've just gotten really, really good. And so, rarely do I'm the last time I can remember where I honestly ran into a problem where I didn't have enough filtration to the amount of water was when we're keeping 1 to 200 koi in 80 gallons of water in the store because we're selling them. We're doing 90% water changes at least once a day, and that's the only time I can remember. There are times when you have filtration that's not cycled enough, or your tank's not mature enough. There's all of those things could happen, but it's not a physical limitation, right? It's not a physical like, oh, I can't do it because of I don't have enough equipment. It just needs longer to seed. I can keep Anubias happy, Crips happy, red tiger lotus lilies, but no matter what I do, my Java fern always dies. What could I be doing wrong? Well, you could be, maybe planting it too deep. I'm guessing not because the rhizome on the Anubias seems happy. Make sure enough nutrients are going in. That's the other thing of like they like a lot of potassium, and so maybe not quite enough's going in. Trying to think of other things. I mean, part of my goal right now in my fish room, I brought a bunch of Java fern home. It was to start helping, because we run into this a lot where people don't have luck with plants. And so the best way is for me to play with it and teach you stuff that I don't even know I'm teaching you. Because if you have 100 people that say, hey, I'm struggling with this plant, it takes a long time to figure out each problem people are having because they're not all having the same problem. One might be using way too much super glue. One might be using line to tie it down. They're damaging the rhizome. One might not be feeding enough. One might be burying it too much. One might be it's getting outcompeted by other plants. One might be giving it way too much light. There could be all these things. And so by showing how I'm having some success, people go, oh, well, I could be, I see where I went wrong. And so I could help many people at once if I'm actually doing it as opposed to trying to do one-on-one triage on what's going wrong with your specific problem. And so I should have more coming out, and when I redo a tank that's much more Java fern and that kind of stuff, hopefully you'll go, oh, maybe I'll try that part. I'm not quite doing that. Maybe that's what I'm missing, or maybe not. But that's the way I'm going to try to address a lot of that and hopefully help a lot of people who are struggling with some of these plants here and there, because it's each, we kind of lump all plants together, but we kind of also all know that plants all want slightly different things, right? So even though you can grow most plants in your yard, it doesn't mean the next plant you buy is necessarily going to thrive. You might have to do some learning about it. Like spike time, only 82 liked. Oof, that's the bad beats. Let's see. I've got some hair algae and some diatom algae issues. I've stopped ferts and do regular water changes. Lighting is 6 hours a day. I'm stumped. I would say you're starving your plants to death. Like, to me, let me see, maybe this analogy will resonate with you. Let's imagine instead of hair algae and diatom algae, you've got bugs in your house, right? And so now you've got bugs, and you go, well, to stop it, I just won't feed anymore. Like there was crumbs getting on the floor, we just won't eat in the house anymore. And then 6 months later, you're like, but I still have bugs. Yeah, the bugs are there. You haven't done anything to get rid of them, right? And this is kind of the same thing of like, So imagine you got bugs in your house, and you're like, well, we just won't live here for 6 months. You come back and the bugs are worse, right? You didn't do anything. You stopped, but it didn't do anything to remedy it. And that's what's kind of going on in the aquarium here is that by not feeding the plants, they're just going to start dying and fueling even more algae, right? And so I'm not sure where in the internet this exists, but so often things aren't going right in my planted aquarium. Let me shut off everything, right? And so to me, it's like, oh, you're having a hard time breathing? Let's take away all the oxygen. Then you won't have troubles breathing because you can't breathe. That's kind of what's going on here is like, I realize we're growing extra algae and diatom algae here, but the answer is not to let's make sure everything dies. Instead, the goal is let's try and make sure that the plants are growing. Okay, yep, we're growing algae too. Great, but the plants are growing. Now let's figure out how to deal with the algae, right? And that's where it's weird in the internet collectively. So often we run into people that, well, I'm just going to stop doing it all, and they don't. The internet's not explaining like you're just going to starve everything and kill everything. You will get rid of the algae. That is a true statement. You're also going to get rid of all your plants. But I think the goal that people are actually trying to do is, I want my plants to thrive, I want my tank to look good, and I don't want the algae. That is going to take time of balancing and keeping the plants healthy. The easiest way to make sure your plants don't die is to make sure they keep growing, right? Even though you're getting some algae growth, the plants are growing. Now we can work on, bringing back down the algae slowly over time, but keeping those plants growing well. And so yeah, I'm not sure how that exists on the internet and why so many people end up at that corner. But I would love for us to get it to be more prevalent, that people would know like growing plants is good, growing algae is okay. Let's work on reducing the algae, but growing the plants still. That's the important part. Growing the plants still. Does Buse Black Pearl not qualify for mix and match 5% discount? My guess, Matthew, without looking at it right now, is that someone in my company launched that product and it wasn't me, and then it's missing a tag. Let me see. It should qualify. So what I'll do sometime today is I will figure out, let me see if I can do it on the fly. I love it when I can do it on the fly, because then I don't have to feel bad in 2.5 days when I didn't do it. And Candy's going, hey, this guy's waiting. I go, oh, geez, sorry. Let me look at both Buse products. Buse Philandra. There's probably just a tag I'm missing. Let me see. Why doesn't it have it? It should. I want to be the hero right now. Instant gratification. I'm going to keep answering questions while I try to work on this. I do have Fluval stratum, so I thought it was an overabundance of nutrients in the water column. It definitely could be, Larry, depending on how old your Fluval stratum is. But again, I would say what could be happening, and I don't know because I can't test your water and I'm not there, but what if it was releasing tons of ammonia, right? And that's going to grow insane amounts of algae. But your plants are still going to die if all they're getting is ammonia. So I haven't done this analogy or this example in a long time, but plants, let's say they need 5 things to grow, right? They need nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, iron, and CO2, right? Let's say it's those 5 things. They need more than that too, but let's say that they need one of, and for this example, we're going to treat them all as equal because it's not, but they need one molecule, one molecule, one molecule, one molecule, one molecule. If your tank has nitrogen, nitrates, and ammonia, but it's missing potassium and phosphate and iron, and let's say you have CO2 left, the plant doesn't grow very well at all. Sometimes it'll die, sometimes it'll grow with deficiencies, but it's really struggling, right? If you have all of them, now the plant can thrive. Well, Algae, being a single-celled organism, only needs one of the 5. What? Any one of these. You could just have a ton of iron, right? Ton of iron. Algae's growing, right? You dose way too much iron, you get way too much hair algae. You could have a ton of phosphates, right? That would be this one right here. Ugh. A ton of phosphates from using a sand that's releasing silicates. Grow a ton of algae. So the best thing to do is make sure your plants are getting all the nutrients, they're thriving, and then start figuring out where's the imbalance causing it to grow even more. You know, you could find out that, like, well, my light's only on 6 hours, but I'm running the blue LED nighttime light for 18 hours. Like, oh, that's your algae. You're providing, you know, plants can't really utilize that blue. Algae can. Again, that's another quirk of algae, if it can photosynthesize under blue light. And so finding that imbalance and correcting that, whereas when you just restrict everything to the plants, the outcome is kind of easier to figure out. It's not going to be good, unfortunately. It's going, yeah, well, it's they're starving marvins. Want an auto doser for 125-gallon planted discus tank of easy green, iron, and carbon, because I forget ferts. Any problem with this idea? I don't think so. I even have a whole video on it. You can look up the way we do it, but we do this on all the warehouse tanks. We do it in the store tanks. I do it on my 800-gallon aquarium. And yeah, it's, again, I'm lazy, I'm forgetful, those types of things, and that helps me in a way that I can eliminate it. Oh yeah, I don't need to remember that anymore. You know, you still need to test and everything, make sure you're not, oh, it's too much, or, you know, the plants, I cut them back, or whatever. So it doesn't mean that you no longer do that stuff. It just means you don't have to do the dosing part. You're still doing the checking part. Try not to cough, like, under control here. I mean, out of control, not under control. Where is this? I don't know. It's going to take, I'm going to have to do it after my next, I have a meeting at 2:30. So after that meeting, I'll have to dig in. Wait, checkout discount could be here. Nope, not that setting either. Discount on product options. It's, okay, discounted collection, yes. 5%, yes. 3 or more, yes. It should be. That, let me make, no. I can't explain why. I'll have to inquire with the developers. Let me check one more thing. Make sure it's in the right collection. By the way, it says we only have oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. So yeah, that's okay. Try one more. This is like half my day, by the way. Hey, thing broken, what do? Let me see if I can make thing not broken, what do? Yeah, it's in the same collection. I can't explain why. That's a good bug. I love it when you guys find the bugs, because, so, you know, everyone in the live chat super engaged with our brand and willing to help. But then there's tens of thousands of other people that will visit our website every month, and they'll just have a bad experience of like, well, I didn't buy because the plant I wanted didn't get the discount. And no one will tell us, and we'll never even know why. Like, it is set up correctly. It should be getting that discount. I cannot tell you why it's not right now. But worst case scenario, let's say you're like, Corey, I want to order. Place your order, email Candy, we'll refund you that 5%. Meanwhile, I'll be going down the rabbit hole eventually, trying to figure out, why is this bugged out? So yeah, we don't want to hold up your order. So, you know. Could I put Maricin in an auto feeder? It technically can be done. Dry ferts can be fed through auto feeders. I have no experience doing it, and you would really want to test that a bunch, because an auto feeder full versus one that's low dispenses different amounts. So you'd really want to get that dialed in before you were, you know, putting it live on a tank. And I feel like no one needs to be dosing meds that often that it would necessarily be worth the R&D, you know, research and development to make that work for you well. Is there a way to test for those nutrients the plant needs to see what is in the water currently? Yes, if you go to like our water change guide on the website or read some of our articles, if you're using Easy Green, if you test for nitrates and the majority of your nitrates is from Easy Green, that'll kind of clue you in. Otherwise, you're getting an insane amount of tests that no one really wants to go through every week to maintain it. So you can get about like 75% accuracy by doing it that method, or you can go with crazy amounts of kits and time and get more accurate, which most people just aren't doing. Not that you can't, just aren't, because they're going, oh, well, it's $200 in test kits. It takes me 3 hours, because you start getting into some of the things you want to test, and you're like, oh, it's not just the average kit anymore. AutoMed seems like a bad idea. Not necessarily, Nicholas, in that if you really needed it. So, for instance, imagine in my warehouse or my store, if we needed it so that we programmed meds to go in every day after the water changes, because you would need to redose every day for the best possible treatment, that would be kind of a useful, good thing. That being said, I still don't think it's practical. We'd have to use a different auto feeder than what we would use. So we could go, hey, fish came in on a Thursday. We want a dose for the next 5 days. Has to be at this time after the water changes. But then it wouldn't trigger again until we started it. Because maybe those fish live in there for a month through quarantine, right? So, yeah. I'll just add another plant to get the discount on 3, but pay the full for the black pearl. Well, thank you, Matthew. And I didn't test that. Maybe it's just not showing it, but it, test that in the checkout too. Maybe it'll give you the discount there, but, so the other thing you should know, Matthew, you're a member, and so you're going to get the 5% either way. The 5% from plants and the membership don't stack to be 10%. You just get one or the other. So in your specific case, you're going to save 5% either way, but that's a very good call out because people that aren't members and all of that. And I just don't like to have bugs out there when I can help it. Let's see. Thoughts on eating Chinese food with aquascaping tweezers instead of chopsticks. I'm a fork guy. I can do it. My wife and most of her family are like ninjas. And some people in their family even eat like Cheetos and stuff with chopsticks, which is kind of genius because they don't get Cheeto fingers. But I don't have that level of dexterity that makes sense. So I'm just, give me a fork. Even when I'm in China, I'll ask if they have a fork because my life is just easier because I'm usually talking business and everything. And if they don't, the more out rural we are, I can eat with chopsticks. I just look like, I'm barely holding it together. Let's see here. Joel says, I was heading over, but you're live. Well, you're welcome to do what you needed to do. I've got another meeting after this, so you'll probably be here doing what you got to do, and I'd just be stuck working. Which is, probably nothing new for you. I'm always working. How's Dorothy doing with the convention crud? Getting better. She's just kind of like, 4 or 5 days delayed behind my, my progression. Let's see here. Just got a CO2 setup, 180 gallon tank. What's your on-off recommendations? Also, any tips will be greatly appreciated. My opinion is hook it up the easy way, right? So there's gonna be a bunch of people. Oh, you could min-max harder than that. Yes, I understand. The easiest way that I start is just put it on the same timer as your light. Light comes on, CO2 comes on, right? And then light goes out, CO2 goes out. You could have the CO2 come on an hour earlier, so you're at maximum saturation, light comes on, CO2 goes off an hour before the lights go out, so that way you not burn off, that's the wrong word, but use up most of that CO2 before light goes out. You could do that. But I like hooking everything up to the same Kessel Wi-Fi timer. I basically take the Kessel Wi-Fi timer, I plug in a power strip, I plug in my lights, I plug in my CO2, and that's what I let control my tank. I should probably do a whole video on how like a Casa Wi-Fi timer with a power strip is like the average person's Apex system and all of that. You can do so much with it. And an Apex system, oh, $400. You can do a lot of what that'll do for the average person with two or three of these, 15-ish dollar timers. So, but I would say both, just put them on the same thing. And see, here's Kyle Hernandez, min maxing. You should actually turn on the CO2 a couple hours before the lights turn on. And then I would fight back, Kyle, with, oh, if we're going down that rabbit hole, what's your CO2 testing before the lights come on? Because planet tanks produce CO2 at night, and you might already be at maximum saturation before you even kick on the CO2. But then we're getting into such min-max territory that most people would never even need to know that. Of like, well, how long have the lights been out? What is the load of plants in the tank? Are you reaching maximum CO2, 30 parts per million, before it even comes on? Because when you test, you'll actually see the pH drops quite a bit. Oxygen levels are very low because plants consume oxygen and give off CO2. And you're getting to a point of like, yeah, but most people, like for us, yes, in our aquariums at the warehouse, we do every 6 months to a year reevaluate because based on how we set it up, are we running crush coal or aren't we? Have we changed the system or haven't we? Have we cleaned the reactors recently? Have we, done these things? That will actually change how much sooner the CO2 will need to be on or not. We also, to save ourselves a little bit of energy and CO2, we actually have the lights go out for the half an hour while everybody's at lunch. To give that miniature, siesta. And then, yeah. Drop checker is blue when lights come out, turns green when CO2 is at a decent level. Great. You should start a forum or something and discuss this with many people. And I'm not doing that to slight you. I'm just saying I think what you'll find is a lot of people have their experience from like, oh, I ran 3 aquariums, this is my experience. And then as you extrapolate that over hundreds of thousands of people, you go, oh, not everybody's got that situation going on. And so when you try to dispense information, I find it easiest, conquer the 65%, let the other 35% get into it, and, min-max it harder. So, yes, in our experience, yeah, I could argue, do you even, like, I would first start arguing, which I don't even want to do, but I would arguing that I don't even think people need drop checkers because you don't need 30 parts per million CO2 to grow a plant. You just need a plant not to run out of CO2. So it's like saying, well, to build a house, if I have $5 billion, I now can build my house. Like, well, if the house is only a $200,000 house, you actually only needed 200,000. And so, are you guys restocking hoodies soon on the site? That's a good thing to bring up, actually. No. So the hoodies are on the site right now. We may be discontinuing because we're launching another design. I don't know when that's exactly coming. I think it's in production right now, maybe. Maybe. It's a cool design, though. I like it. And so I don't know if we actually in the meeting decided whether we're discontinuing the current hoodie. It's going to be the same hoodie, as in the same Gildan hoodie that we use, just different logos. Or logo is the wrong word. Graphics, I guess. We just wanted to mix it up a little bit because we've done some of the same stuff for so long. We wanted to kind of, hey, let's do a little bit of a new twist on it. Doesn't mean it'll never come back because we've done that before too. Just know that our goal was let's work on a new, as we called, forever shirt and hoodie design, and hopefully buy them in massive levels and can keep the cost reasonable because every day that goes on, prices go up. I just saw, by the way, that where is that? I took a picture. Let me see if I can find it. Of course, so easy. Oh yeah, 2023 service rates for UPS, which we ship UPS to our other stores, but this is the email we got October 21st, so 2 days ago. While this past year has seen some return to normalcy, we have all been impacted by the new challenges globally and economically. But one thing remains unchanged, our commitment to serving you. At UPS, we are continuing to invest in the best team in the industry, innovative technology, and unmatched global network, all to ensure that you can serve your customers with the needed speed and reliability. To help you plan ahead, here's a summary of our upcoming rate changes. Like, oh, good. The rates for UPS Ground and UPS International will increase an average net of 6.9%. UPS air freights within and between US, Canada, and Puerto Rico will increase an average of 6.2%. The impact of these rate changes on your shipping costs will vary according to your shipping characteristics and terms of your UPS agreement. For more information, blah, 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 read all these things. So yeah, I mean, it's every day that basically things are kind of going up. And so instead of us, our goal is always, hey, we're noticing that we're not making money or like very close to not making money on this product. What are our options? Raise the price? Can we buy more in bulk? Could we change the way we ship it? What could we do to keep it where we're not raising it? And so one of the things we can do is buy more in bulk. And if we're going to do that, maybe we do a new design so more people want to buy it, because it doesn't make sense to be like, we bought 1,000 hoodies. And then like, how many hoodies did we sell? I could tell you that number probably. Hoodies. So with hoodies, yeah, in the last 90 days, we only sold 59 hoodies, right? Now I love this thing. And I never want to have a day where I'm not wearing my hoodie, because I wear it every day. I wore it yesterday, in fact. But if we're going to bring on like 1,000 hoodies, right? So 1,000 hoodies, let's say we buy 1,000, and I don't know what the exact number is, but it's always bigger numbers. Let's say 1,000 hoodies divided by, if we only sell 60, let's say, every 90 days, so that's times 3. 5 by 12. That means we'd be buying 4.16 years worth of hoodies. So the hope is that with that hoodie, we would make a new design. People like me that own that hoodie go, hey, I want both designs. So now we might sell 100 hoodies, right? And now that helps carry the burden of stocking a ridiculous amount of hoodies. So, yeah. Weldon tanks, who I haven't seen in a long time. After an emotional past with pufferfish, I'm ready to get another Fonka puffer. Been living vicariously watching Murphy and Ladybird. Long time, no speak, Weldon. Hope you're doing well. I think you're down in Texas now. Is that a true thing? I don't know. I eat my Cheetos with a spoon? Oof. Bold. I like a good spork, you know what I mean? I need to buy a hoodie. I always wear hoodies, but somehow still don't have a co-op one. Yeah. Our hoodies, the good thing about them is they do last like forever. I've washed them a billion times. They're not too hot, not too cold. We tried some other hoodies that were cheaper. Enraging. I have the prototypes, and both Randy and I, we thought, like, oh, we like the look, we like it, and we were both wearing them. We both just like, it was like 3 weeks ago. We're both like, yeah, it's not the one. It's not the one. And I was like, and we only tried them because we couldn't get the Gildan hoodie we liked because of COVID shortages. And boy, that's just the one. I'm sure there's some other great ones out there, but until we find it, that's the one. Love it. Love it. Jewel encrusted laser sport. Right. Forgot about that. That's a good callback. 5 memberships from Well Done. Thank you so much, buddy. How many hats in the last 90 days? Uh-oh. This is where I just give all my competitors our secrets. How many hats? It depends on, we've got different hats. Let's go with like the new baseball one. The new baseball one that I love. We sold 71 of those. So here's what's crazy, right? In our business, the people in chat might be like a very narrow section. And you're going, we love hats. We want this stuff. And we go, yeah, us too. We love it. Like, we're obviously big fans of the stuff we do, right? But when you go, okay, well, we had to spend weeks testing and working on this hat, and we sold 71 in the last 90 days. And then, for like sponge filters, where are those at? They're, oh, right here. So another product we could be working on, and this is where, my internal struggle of like, well, we need to work on what people want. We sold 12,241 sponge filters. 12,000, over 12,000 sponge filters compared to 71 hats. So that's like some of the craziness that we deal with of like, yeah. Zipper front hoodie. We could save a decent amount if we don't have the zipper. I love the zipper. And unfortunately, our products will always be skewed to what Corey loves. I see the value in a non-zippered one because I recognize camping. Ooh, like if I have a hand, do I have it in here? No, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's out in the studio. Like my hand warmer, the electronic hand warmer. When you don't have a zippy, you can put both hands in the pocket. Heats both hands. But when you got the zipper, pockets are on each side, only heats one hand. So I do realize the use cases. Just my everyday run and gun hat, or not hat, but zippered hoodie. That's what I like most times. I've got an Aquariumcoop sweatshirt on my Christmas list. Hopefully Santa brings me one. Yeah, I should probably find a way for you guys to, or talk about it more. Like that would be great if you guys actually wanted that stuff and you actually reminded your family and they actually bought it from us. All those things would be super good for us. So if you actually want it and you do it, it helps us tenfold. Could I make a merch site where you can ship merch to Canada? We've got some like a Teespring link where you could buy some stuff. I think that's how you get the goldfish mug that's like ultra rare. Let's see. Size are limited on the hoodies right now? Yep, definitely. I know we've sold out on some, and I don't know off the top of my head. I'm meeting with Randy in person this week, so if I remember, I'll ask him like, hey, where are we at on that? Like, how soon are we actually launching the new ones? Because I talked about it, and whenever I talk about something, that basically speeds up the cycle. We need something like extra bad, and that makes inventory really hard. Like I think we're sold out of Casa Wi-Fi timers because I've been talking about them the last few weeks because I love them. Yeah, we've got 5 at the store, physical store, and 0 online. Hopefully those are on the way. I do believe at some point we'll have the camera too. I gave the go ahead of like, let's get the camera. I like the camera. I use like 7 cameras. Not all for my fish tanks. I want to see the new hoodie design. Do I have it? Let me see if I have it. Let's see. Gotta see if it might have only been shown to me in a meeting, and sometimes it's not uploaded in like our cloud where I could I'm not seeing it. Oh wait, maybe. Oh no. It's not uploaded here. I can see it. We're waiting on samples. I know that they got sent to me this week. So yeah. I think it's the shirt and the hoodie. So I'm gonna be able to show it on stream before it even gets produced. But I gotta wear them a bunch too. I don't want to hype you guys up and be like, it's dope. And then I wear it, or it does bad in the washing machine or dryer or something. And Dorcula helps out with that too. In that, she'll give feedback like, ooh, not this one. This didn't work that well, or oh, it gave off a bunch of lint, or did this or that. So there's a lot of things I want to test before. Yeah. That's good feedback. Madden says, just looked, assumed it was not a zip because I don't see the description, just the pic on the back. Yeah, we're really working on pictures, and it's probably seeming like we're not, but we're spending a lot of time, more pictures, more resource for you guys to see the products better, because it takes a lot to do good pictures, but we know that we're quick to get something online. I can show it in video and do all of that, but then if you're not watching the video or you don't know where we talked about it, that's probably a super valid call out of, we probably don't even show the front of that hoodie, I bet. Oh, we do. Okay, second picture does. So we're not not ultra bad. We're just, and it does say it has a sturdy metal zipper. All right, so we're not way too crazy. Wow, yeah, we're sold out of medium, large, extra large. Oops. Transitions are always hard when between products. All right, I got like five-ish, a little more than 5 minutes left. So I got to prep for my next meeting. I do think it's fun when I see someone with co-op gear on in the wild. Should put my co-op luggage tag on my luggage. I never see it. I wish I did. I see it at conventions and stuff, obviously, but that seems, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. I've yet to have the, being at like farmer's market or something, like, oh my gosh, they're wearing my thing. Haven't had that experience yet. I'm redoing my 75-gallon starting a discus aquarium. Can I add the discus, rummy nose, cories, and plecos at the same time to quarantine together? I suppose so. Where I pause, I guess, it's gonna be a lot of money wrapped up in one thing, and if one, like, you would hate for it to, like, oh, the rummy nose came down with ick and are, now infecting the discus. And I feel like I would split it up a little bit. If I have the luxury probably of having multiple tanks, you might not. But I feel like I would try to spread the risk out. That's what I would try to get to. Spread the risk out. Another stream well done. Well, thanks, Blake. I need to get out to Australia. A couple people I want to hang out, talk with. A co-op bad Christmas jumper. We had samples. They just, I don't know. They didn't move me. I was like, yeah, it's a bad Christmas sweater, but how many will we really sell? Do I have time to do I have time to vet them and make sure they're actually good quality? I don't want to just put something out that's a cash grab, right? And so my brain goes, am I going to wear a bad Christmas sweater like in August, September, so that I have enough testing to be able to launch it in November to sell it in November, December? And then do I actually, like, is that what I want to spend my marketing time on? Like, you should buy this bad sweater, wear it twice. Or should I get you to wear the world's most comfortable hoodie that I absolutely love and can fall asleep in? And I just think that's a better use of everybody's time. And so I focus on that. They could start the email with upcoming rate changes. Yeah, they could, but they want to, it's like everything. And we do it too. Let's be honest. When you got to deliver bad news, let's remind you, like, and I'm not, but let's say, oh, we got to raise prices, guys. And I go like, but we've got, great warranties, hassle-free. We've got candy, customer service. We test our products. Like, we lead with all the good things. And then we go, but we got to raise the prices by 5%, guys. And that you're trying to spin it and no one wants to do this, by the way. No one, I mean, maybe the guy at the top of UPS or something, or the stockholders, I don't know, but no one really wants to be like, everyone's job just got harder. We're going to charge our customers more for the same thing. Everything is getting harder. No one wants to be doing that. And so you're trying to go like, look, really it comes down to stuff got more expensive. We can keep the price the same and make the product worse, or we could raise the price and keep the product the same. Those are the only two actual options. And so we will always try to keep the price the same first, because we never want to let quality go down. That's because once we lose, if Aquariumcoop loses its quality, and I'm not saying we don't have a plant that goes out that's bad, or like, 0.5% of this product has breakage rate or something. But overall, in a long time span, if we spend 2 years and it's just launch after launch and thing after thing and quality is going down, Aquariumcoop just won't exist. Like, we've relied so much on our testing and what we do that if we lose that, everyone that does buy from us now, that's, I think, mostly white. You want to support what we do, you believe in what we do, you know that we do the testing, you watch the products come along. If we let that go, then we don't really have a place in the market anymore. There's people that are cheaper. There's, well, there's things that are more high end, I guess. I don't think they're better value, but like we fit in this weird zone of like, we're hobbyists, we're not the cheapest. I do think we have the best customer service and the fastest shipping. Um, but we're in that weird zone, and if we don't deliver on that, people will be pulled to one or the other. Like, oh, I'm going for cheaper, or I'm going higher end, where we're right in that middle. And so we have to uphold that, otherwise we'll cease to exist, I think. So my golden white clouds breed 24/7 in my tank, but I can never get any babies to survive, even though there's tons of cover like a jungle. But in my pond, so many survive. My guess, the difference being surface area. You got 6 white clouds in a pond that's this big around, right? They can not instantly be always around the babies. But in let's say you got a 20-gallon tank, they're within 8 inches from those fry at all times. More likely to get mowed down and eaten. Prices go up, it happens. I took a poll for what that's worth, and the overwhelming majority would not care what costs were. They'd still do what it takes to keep our critters. So I agree. So this is from Silver Creek Aquatics. What I've observed is whenever I poll, you'll get the most checked in people to your business to respond, right? And so they know us more, they're willing to support us. But if we expand out, right, and we look at like, so right now we have 657 people, and if I polled you guys are fairly engaged with the Aquariumcoop brand. But we have over 200,000 different customers. And the reality is there's all the different demographics in there. So there's the budget shopper, there's the super high-end shopper, there's the only been in the hobby for 10 minutes, there's the been in the hobby forever and a day, and each one will care about different things. There'll be people that are right on the fence, right? Like, any more increases I can't afford to buy from anymore. Or, maybe you've lost a job, but in these big numbers, what we know is pretty much the public reacts the way the public does. And whenever prices go up, you typically lose some buyers. Just 1.5 billion different reasons. Now, could you do enough marketing and be a good enough business that you will only lose a very small percent? Yes, and that's the hope. And that's why most businesses can keep going on. In general, as you make things cheaper, you will acquire more people buying, right? But that doesn't mean that you'll keep everybody. So let's say we could lower pricing by 1/3 somehow. And we got way more people buying. But our customer service sucks. Like, we just don't have it anymore. And we just, we do a bunch of things wrong. We might actually sell more stuff, but we might be less profitable, right? Because we're not making as much money. The repeat customers aren't there anymore. The longevity's not there, and all of that. And so I think the way you ask questions is very important too. If you read a lot of books on this, if you say, would you stop feeding your dog if pet food got too expensive? Everyone says, well, no, I will always feed my dog, right? But if you start asking, like, if pet food became twice as expensive, would you look at other brands? They probably would, right? You go, oh, and that's what we see is people do that. They go, oh, well, because this went up, I now am doing this. And I think in our lives right now, a lot of people are doing this, and that is, you might look at fast food and you go, prices are up so much. Why would I go eat fast food when I can eat at a restaurant for virtually the same price? The customer didn't stop eating. They just now are eating at a restaurant, or they're getting fast casual where they're buying it and getting it to go as opposed to the drive-through, right? And so it's not so much that would they stop feeding and supporting their pet? No. Instead, they will find ways to do it at the same price point. And that's usually what happens if someone is spending $50 on their pet a month. They will continue to always spend that $50 as long as they have a job. Their money will go less far until a point where it's hard to get everything I need for my pet. Then they'll make a brand switch and they'll keep doing that $50, right? And so that's what we've seen and my research points me to. And I still, I still will poll people and ask because it's all useful information. And Silver Creek, because I want to keep with this line of thought, says, oh no, my poll was way more specific than that. It was regarding constant uprise in prices over the last couple of years. Yep. The problem with any polling, there's always bias, right? So if you say, are you still keeping your pet and will you, even though the prices are rising over the last few years? You're only asking the people that haven't already left the hobby and don't, right? So the data can always get skewed. And that's what makes polling and research so incredibly hard. And one study says this and the next study says the polar opposite. And I'm not claiming to know everything at all because you can't. And so I would just say, just make sure that you don't let a poll of your users skew the way you run your business, knowing that any data you look at, depending on how you look at it, could be very different results. And, I hope that people do keep supporting their animals and their hobbies and all of these things are good. Just don't let yourself get talked into a false line of logic based on accidentally skewed results. So, oh, look at that. Chris Lukup. He's in the flesh. I hope you're enjoying the Stroop waffles, those cookies and stuff that I forgot at your house, Chris. If you haven't had a chance, check out Chris Lukup's channel, The Shrimp King. He keeps releasing little master classes on different nanofish and shrimp and things like that he cares about. So, yeah. Silver Creek says, that's what for what it's worth was for. So many studies and different things. I definitely agree, and I'm very prone to reading a statement, going down a rabbit hole for 5 minutes, and completely forgetting for what it's worth. And I try, in my mind, I'm trying to cover subjects so thoroughly that even with your disclaimer that I basically forgot about until now. Yeah, my apologies. I do that very often, and I don't know why. Maybe it's a lapse in my logic, but at the rate of one of our cat eats, we have 8 months stocked up just in case price of cat food doubles again. We are stockpiling food a little bit too, not in that we're afraid of the price so much, but during COVID we did have times where we couldn't buy our food for our pets, and then it made it more difficult, right? Because then we had to, well, what food are we going to replace it with? Is it of the same quality? Some of our pets have maybe more sensitive stomachs where it's like, ooh, we switch food, now they've got diarrhea, that's not good. So we try to keep an excess amount in to hopefully weather any short-term outages and things, so we don't have to spend that time finding what the follow-up food and routine would be. So, but yes, cost would do it too. We just haven't, we haven't hit, a point where we would analyze it that way yet. Do the co-op hats fit size 8 head? So they fit my head at 7 3/4. Chattanooga Ed, the snap fits. It puts it on the last rung, and so he didn't like it as much. Mine, I think it's got 3 snaps or something at 7 3/4. So the flex fits can flex even harder. I don't even know if we have flex fits. They've gotten to be so expensive these days. So yeah, I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot and be like, yes, they'll fit any really big head like mine, because I did find a few people that their head is so large it's not a great fit. But do know it fits most people's heads, I would say. And rest assured, you could always return it to us. That being said, I hate returning it. My wife does all the returning for us because I can't, time is money type of thing, and I'm always chasing the next bug on the website or something, and pretty soon it's been 30 days and I never return the shoes that don't fit me. I'm terrible at it. But I'm very upfront with, I already know I'm not going to return it. So let's give it to someone, or you can do it. I just know I won't do it. Yeah. Always switch dog food slowly. Definitely. That's a good thing to do if you're not watching it though, because like at the time we were very stressed out of like, what are we gonna do? COVID, the business, and then pretty soon you're like, we only have 4 cans left. Like, okay, order the next food. We only have 2 cans left. We didn't have a long transition time to new foods. So yeah, I do kind of want to test some hats being made in China, and mostly it's because I do love hats. I wear hats very often, but the prices are getting nutty. Like, I don't know. In my growing up, I feel like hats should be like $20. You wear a hat, it's nice, $20, and I want to say our hats are like they're getting expensive. Like we have to sell them expensive, and like my cost on these things are like $17 or more, because that doesn't include the shipping, and it's just getting crazy. And so what I'm thinking is like, what if I buy like 5,000 hats at a time? Like we just go all in on a couple of styles. Could we, could we get that hat price down? We're like, hey, it's $20. Yeah. So that's why I would reach out to a China, or maybe it could be Vietnam or somewhere else. Like looking at that is I want to. I guess I've always got this weird hang up where it's like I feel like this thing should only be this much. It's not that people won't pay it. 71 people would buy our hats, but at $20, I feel like more people would wear them. You'd feel like it's a better value because what our hat is what? Now I gotta know. How much is our hat? 25, 30? Yeah, our latest Aquariumcoop baseball logo with the super fat lettering and everything, which I love, is $30. I love that hat though. Whereas our Murphy one without crazy lettering and everything is only 25. I really would love those to get them down to $19.99 though. That'd be great. Lefty says a good ball capture cost between 15 and 20. Yeah. Aquariumcoop dad hats, we have them. They're actually in the warehouse. We just haven't released them yet. I think they're the next release. Some dad hats. I don't know when. Don't ask me. It's not my department. But we physically have them. I know that. I think I've got one in my studio. It's not up here. So, all right. I'm gonna call it because it's now 12 minutes after. I gotta use restroom, clear my sinuses, and hop into the next meeting. Hopefully with some intelligent conversation. Let my brain decompress from this, which I enjoy so much, and get back into needing to work with someone and figure out idea mode. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for sharing your Sunday with me. I know I'm going against NASCAR and football and baseball games and all of that, and but it's strategic. I like that we've got this group of 6, 7, 8, 900 people, much more manageable. I know I could optimize and be hitting 1,500, maybe up to 2,000. It just gets crazy in here, and so I like this group of people that, you go, oh, it's Ryan and Kyle and Nathan and Lefty and Aaron and MX Ryder, and you get to know these people, and Regina Phalange, who has little chihuahuas like me, as opposed to it's moving so fast, so crazy that we don't know who each other are anymore. And so if you like that, think about showing up an hour early. That's where the group's like 20 people. We can really have some in-depth conversations, and I really enjoy that part. And yeah, so thanks for showing up. I'll see you guys next Sunday, which is I think the day before Halloween. Maybe we'll get a little crazy and do a little dog Halloween costume thing. My wife wants to do it. If we got the costumes ready and everything else works out, we got a lot going on this week, maybe we'll do it. If not, don't worry. There's always other times for costumes. My wife, we probably need to set up like a whole room for costumes if she had her way. But all right, let me find the done button. Good seeing you here, Chris. Make another video. I just keep cracking the whip on Chris, and because he's got knowledge nobody else has, and it's not going to leave his brain. It goes on to books, but I don't have time for books. I got time for videos. So, all right, that's the end button. I gotta find the other end button. I gotta hit them fairly close together. But bye, everybody. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate the support as always. Buy all of our stuff if it makes sense.